What's good people, and welcome to the Silly, Nerdy, Sometimes Wordy podcast. And I'm your host, BK, and this is episode 44, spoiler review of Bad Boys Ride or Die. Again, spoiler review of Bad Boys Ride or Die. And in this episode, I'll be doing a spoiler review of the movie Bad Boys Ride or Die, the fourth installment in the franchise. My thoughts on the film, about the story, from the action, the cinematography, the way it was shot. But first, I'm going to do some nerdy notes. So, let's get right into the nerdy notes. In this episode, Nerdy Notes, I'm going to talk about a few things in TV and film. Starting out with the Game of Thrones spinoff, House of the Dragon. Now, season 2 of this show is set to premiere this coming Sunday on Max, HBO. And before that premieres in a few days, they have already renewed the show for a season 3. So that is excellent news. And apparently they will begin filming season 3 later this year. So that is excellent news. It's a great show. I'm sure a lot of people that love the Game of Thrones franchise, hopefully you guys are liking the House of the Dragon. And another piece of Game of Thrones news, there are many spin-offs that are in the works. And another one that has already been cast and everything, this one is called A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, one of George R.R. Martin's books. That apparently has begun filming. And this is per a Twitter account that is named Westeros. They currently have 290,000 followers. And this show is also going to be premiering on HBO, on Max. Set to premiere in 2025. And I believe I saw some outlets reporting that they will be filming in Belfast. But yes, so the Game of Thrones spinoff, Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, is set to be currently filming right now. And a synopsis of that show, per Variety is what I got it from. What is the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms about? Quote, a century before the events of Game of Thrones, two unlikely heroes wandered Westeros. A young, naive, but courageous knight, Sir Duncan the Tall, and his diminutive squire, Egg. And, quote, set in an age where the Targaryen line still holds the Iron Throne, and the memory of the last dragon has yet passed from living memory. Great destinies, powerful foes, and dangerous exploits all await these improbable and incomparable friends, end quote. So that is the synopsis of the upcoming spinoff show, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Now, in terms of the time frame of when this is set in the franchise between House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones, so chronologically, this show, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, is set 72 years after the events of The House of the Dragon, the show that's coming back for season 2 this Sunday. And then it is 100 years before the events of Game of Thrones. So that is the timeline in terms of where that show is. And then the last nerdy note I have, which we will segue into the spoiler review of Bad Boys Ride or Die, the fourth installment, it is about the Bad Boys films. So apparently, the producer of the film, all the films really, Jerry Bruckheimer, he spoke to comicbook.com and he said, quote, "We've had discussions, but we want to see how this one did at the box office. And I'm sure we'll have conversations this week." End quote. So basically, what that means is they already kind of started to talk about it as they were probably making this film or right when they finished it. And they want to see how it does at the box office. And it's done really well. The film had a $100 million budget. And at the time of me recording this, right now, Bad Boys Ride or Die, the film has made a little bit over $130 million worldwide at the box office, per Box Office Mojo. So they have definitely been doing well, definitely made their money back. And if they're continue to go in this direction, it seems like the fifth film will eventually get developed and get made, so long as they have a good emotional story along with all the action and comedy and everything else. So that is good news. So if they have a good story, why not make another one? So, all right, that is the nerdy notes for this episode. And as I segue into our main topic, I will be spoiling the film Bad Boys Ride or Die. So this is your last warning. If you have not seen the film yet, this is your chance to stop and go watch the film. Come back and listen to this. But if you want spoilers, feel free to stay on and listen. Again, this is a spoiler review. I'll be getting into what happens in the film. So you have been warned. Okay. So this is the fourth Bad Boys film that stars Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. And I really enjoyed this film. I was laughing. The action sequences were great. The story was good. They seem to always hit that emotional core, and the bond between Marcus and Mike. So, yeah, it was a really good film. I enjoyed it. Let's talk about the story. The story was very interesting. Of course, it centers around the two detectives, and it picks up where the third film left off. Of course, their captain died in the third film. So basically, they frame the captain, the two detectives, and place the blame as if the captain did all these bad things with the drugs and everything. So Martin and Will Smith's characters are on the run and they're framed, so they have to clear their names, so they can't trust too many people. And so it kind of ensues. And so it was an interesting story. It's a good story. Will Smith's character, Mike, gets married, which you never thought that character would settle down, but he did. So I thought that was cool. Another thing I want to talk about is one of the character arcs that came in on the Bad Boys 2, the character of Reggie, who is the son-in-law for Marcus's character. For Marcus, he married Marcus's Martin Lawrence's character's daughter. He was dating the daughter in Bad Boys 2. Then in Bad Boys 3, they got married. In the fourth one, he is still in this, but now he's a little bit older. They have kids now, and another one on the way. And to kind of push forward, Marcus's family is threatened, so he has to protect them. And of course, Reggie's character is a Marine, and so he comes and becomes he does really some interesting things to protect the family, kills multiple bad guys all by himself with no help. So that was pretty cool, and it kind of teased something that he could do more in the film if he's going to be in it. So it's a very interesting character arc to see where he was from dating to marriage to being married with kids, and so yeah, that was pretty cool as well. Another thing is a it's a small detail most people probably don't pay attention to, but there was a recasting of Martin Lawrence's wife, Marcus's wife, Teresa. Though the actress that has played Teresa in the previous three films was not in this film. She was recast. She was replaced by an actress, Tasha Smith. The previous actress that played Marcus's wife was Teresa Randall, so she was not in this film. So you'll notice the difference if you've seen the previous three films. So that's just a small detail. And that happens all the time in movies and in TV. And another thing, let's talk about the action sequences. The action sequences was really great. The way this was shot was really great. Of course, they had the iconic shot when they're on the ground, they stand up, the camera kind of turns around simultaneously as they're standing up slowly at the pivotal moment in the film. That's happened in all three films, and in this film, as soon as it started going, I knew that was what was happening. So got that shot in there. So it's always cool when that shot happens. And then there was another shot where there was something that happened in Bad Boys 2 where the two detectives, they were going to the Zopound or trying to get some information from these bad guys. They end up getting in a gunfight, and Martin and Will Smith's character are on one side of the wall and the bad guys are on the other side of the wall in the 2003 film. And it's kind of a rotating camera going back and forth between the two walls. Well, in this fourth film, there was a similar situation where they filmed it that way, but this time it was kind of multiple levels. In terms of two levels they were filming it. So they kind of elevated the way they shot it in 2003. They did it a little bit differently, but added more to it. So it's a small detail that I noticed. I thought it was really, really cool that they did that. So really, really enjoyed how they did those things. And I thought the bad guy was pretty good. Enjoyed his performance as well. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? I think I've talked about a lot of these things. Of course, the score was in it throughout, and it changed differently throughout the film. So always liked it. The comedy was great. I was laughing. The jokes were pretty solid as well. So I am definitely looking forward to rewatching this again and buying a Blu-ray and seeing all the production stuff and how they made this film. I would definitely recommend that you go see this film when you're able to. So I definitely had a good time with this. Went to go see it with my wife, so we both had a good time seeing this film. Okay, let me see what else can I talk about in this film. I think that's all I have for today. Like I said previously, they already started preliminary discussions of a fifth film. So, like, if things are continuing to trend the way they are, it looks like they will make a fifth film, which will be out in a few years. So we just have to see how the story and the development goes, as well as how Martin Lawrence and Will Smith, in terms of them physically being able to do this role as they get older, because you're not spring chickens anymore. So we'll see how that goes, and when that eventually comes out. So definitely see the first 3 films if you haven't. So, and let's see. There, that's all I have for you today. Again, I enjoyed the film. You should definitely check it out. And hope you enjoyed this episode. We are on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Pandora, Amazon Music, and wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, share it, tell somebody about it. And yeah, that's all I have for you today. So, until next time, we will talk soon.